Some interesting and not so pleasant things happen when you decide to get on your nutrition plan and make that change for a healthier, more fitness oriented lifestyle, right? You start cutting out the habits, the bad habits, you start cutting out the vices, adding in the good things, subtracting the bad, etc. But what happens is all the things that you've been running from come back to you. Just like any kind of drug withdrawal, right? You stop using whatever it is, and then you get all these different side effects that slowly go away over time, right? Sometimes worse than others. That's what can be expected when you start to make positive changes in your life. And I'm also talking about cutting out bad relationships, forging better relationships, just making better choices in general, right? You think it's going to be all hunky dory, and before you know it, things are coming knocking at the door that you've been hiding from for a long time. One of those things is a sense of boredom, right? You cut out the partying, you cut out the drinking, you cut out the constant scrolling and just kind of goofing around, right? All that stuff that used to kind of bring you a little short term joy. And what are you left with? You're left with silence. And silence is what most people fear more than anything. Because in silence, you have to address your inner mind. And most people don't want to face that, which is why they run from it in the first place. A lot of times, as society, we can't even go any time, any amount of time with silence. It always has to be filled with either a YouTube video, music, scrolling, some kind of background noise, sitting in a room by yourself, letting your thoughts come into your mind and then addressing them and meditating on it if possible is a tough thing to do. But I just want to let you guys know that this is to be expected and does get better over time, just like those drug withdrawals do. And just like with any kind of substance, you'll be tempted to go back to the bad habits. You'll be tempted by the devil, like in Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. It's a great book, by the way. He talks about how people drift. It's called drifting. He calls it drifting, where you're kind of bumbling around, going from one dopamine hit to the next, scrolling here, going to eat fast food here, another video, but never getting acting. And time's passing you by. You're drifting. You're drifting like a boat without a rudder at sea. And so, how do we fix that, right? Obviously, you need to have some kind of purpose. I don't mean you have to have some kind of grandiose purpose, some super high spiritual attainment that you're going for, but you have to have something, a why. It's been said that with a strong enough why, you can overcome any how. And the how is going to be, what do you do to reach this goal, right? Let's say you start a new business. You start a new business, you're tired of your 9 to 5, you're tired of the wage slavery. So, where do you start, right? That's the how. Well, you start by creating a goal, so to speak, or a purpose, a vision, I would say. The vision is the broader thing. What do you want? What exactly do you want? Do you want money, relationships? Do you want to travel? All these things. It doesn't have to be physical. If you're driven by just money, then you will usually fall short because it needs to be something more internal, something more visceral, right? And this is where things that people laugh at, like vision boards, manifesting, positive thinking come in, and just doing those things by themselves, it's better than nothing, but it's still not going to help if there's no purpose, if there's nothing behind it. So when you come up with the purpose, you should be able to tell someone in one sentence or less, let's say 1 to 2 sentences, one at the least, what your purpose is. I want to help people. For instance, me, I want to help people get in the best shape of their life, escape from the medical systems, escape from the financial matrix, all these different control systems that keep people stuck and drifting listlessly, things like that. So if someone asked me what my purpose is, that's what I would tell them. And I used to ask people a lot, what is your purpose? Just randomly. And you'd be amazed how many people just have no idea. Some people would have an answer. Some people would ask me, what do you mean? And then have a little vague idea, right? But most people, they have no idea. And a lot of times they would just say, no one's ever asked me that before. And that's a good thing for me, because I'm glad that I asked them, because someone has to do it. Our society is designed to keep people in this system, right? All through school, going into college if possible, right into the job, right? To follow orders. You're not really you're taught to dream as a kid. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a superhero, right? But by the time you're like 10 years old, usually that's been read out. Excuse me. I've got cat allergies, and there's cats around. Let's say that. Anyway, it's bred out of us by the time we're like 10, 12 years old. Definitely by the time you're in your teens, you're already told what college are you going to go to, what job are you going to get, etc. And nothing about a purpose, nothing about a higher purpose. Usually no thoughts of like, are you going to start your own business? Are you going to go after your dreams? Things like that. And so, rambling back to the start of this video, just know that you're not alone. And when you do make that decision to change, you're going to have a sense of kind of emptiness from all those things that you've subtracted. This is part of maturation, right? And you're going to go through sort of withdrawals from all the things that you were doing before. I apologize. The only thing I'm allergic to is my mom's cat. Not even all cats. But I'm done talking about that. But if you hear me sniffling. But yeah, so you're going to have to fill the void and then go into the unknown, right? So a lot of people, here's a good example of what happens to people that don't have the purpose. Someone's an alcoholic. They go into AA. They quit drinking. But years later, they haven't done the spiritual work, and they haven't worked on the personal things that were underlying the condition. They're called dry drunks. They're no longer drunk, but they're still exhibiting the same personality traits. They're not moving to the next step, because quitting is just the first step, right? Next, you need to go on to your higher purpose, because your mind is clear now. This is so annoying. The one time I try and do video out here, I will keep this short because I don't want to keep on having to wipe my nose in front of you guys. But just know that it's part of the process. It's kind of the rough part of the process is the start. But once you get going, you keep going step by step, day by day, putting in those good habits, right? Okay, you're gonna fix the nutrition and the fitness first. That is usually the best place to start, because when your body feels better, your mind feels better, you have more energy, more concentration, you're able to do other things better. It just trickles into other areas of your life, right? There's no way, like, you're not going to be as effective at doing anything if you're overweight, unhealthy, toxic, and lazy, or tired, fatigued all the time, right? Drinking soda by the gallon. You're just not going to be as effective. People don't know how good it feels to be healthy until you attain it. That's something that I always tell my nutrition clients, because some people have never known what it actually feels like to feel really healthy, because they've been unhealthy since such a young age. But that's for another video. So, with that, guys, I hope you like the content. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're building an unbreakable mindset, fitness, nutrition, mindset, mental, psychology, all that stuff. Breaking out of the matrix. I will see you guys in the next one.